For around 24 hours, the U.S. men's team displayed posts and a Twitter banner of the squad's matches with the Iranian flag bearing only its green, white, and red stripes. Then last night, those images were removed and the emblem is back on the flag. A spokesperson for the U.S. Soccer Federation explained the modified flag was meant to show support for women's rights as protests shake Iran.
Iran and the United States are set to play against each other during the World Cup this week, and there's already been quite a bit of controversy leading up to the game. Now, the United States hasn't played Iran since 1998, and Iran actually did win last time. But aside from the match, the upcoming match, I think it's worth discussing what the United States did, the U.S. Soccer Federation did with altering the flag of Iran and how Iran responded to it. And it's part of this endless growing tension between the two countries. This is more than just a soccer match. This is about geopolitical relationships and the ongoing conflict between these two countries. Now, Iran is demanding that the United States get booted from the World Cup after the US Soccer Federation changed Iran's flag on social media platforms to show support for the protesters in Iran. The federation had temporarily displayed Iran's national flag on its official Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook accounts without the emblem of the Islamic Republic. A now deleted graphic of the Group B standings posted on Saturday displayed the Iranian flag only bearing its green, white, and red colors, as you guys saw in the video earlier. Now, US Soccer has said that it just wanted to change the official flag for 24 hours to make a point that they support the protesters in Iran. And after that, they would change it back, which they did. But I can also understand the outrage that Iran might feel over this. Just consider what the United States would feel if Iran did the same thing in altering the US flag. Now, US Soccer says, quote, "The change was a one-time graphic. We have the main flag on our website and other places." And I do want to go to the USA soccer team reacting to this form of protest. Let's watch.
The intent of the post was to show support for women's rights. It was meant to be a moment. We made the post at the time. All of the other representations of the flag remain consistent and will continue to.
We support women's rights. We always have, we always will. That message will remain consistent. And what we're doing as a team is supporting that while also trying to prepare for the biggest game that this squad has had to date.
And it is the biggest game for the US team because the US team must win in order to advance to the next, I guess, round of matches. So Cenk, what do you think about this? Because on one hand, when it comes to these sporting events, whether it's the Olympics or the World Cup, there's always been some form of protest, some form of political commentary by the athletes, and it's been kind of important for them to speak out. On the other hand, though, I do kind of feel like antagonizing Iran in this context isn't really helping the situation much.
See, you've got a problem there, Anna, which is that you're doing nuance, which people don't like.
Oh,
okay?
So I don't actually have a problem.
You have to just blame one side or another and keep it simple.
I was like, wait, why do I have a problem? Why do I have a problem?
Okay.
No, because like,
so here, let me explain. So I loved it when Iran's team showed solidarity with the protests by not singing the Iranian national anthem on their first game. See, that is a powerful message to the people of Iran. We're actually on your side, not on your oppressor side. When we do a gimmick like taking the logo off of the Iranian flag, it presents a couple of problems. One, it makes our side needlessly political. Number two, it makes it look like America's meddling in their own internal affairs, which is not helpful, it's counterproductive, right? And number three, some people might take offense at the fact that it's removing something Islamic. I don't think that's the intent at all, okay?
Yeah.
But people are gonna find a reason to find offense at things like that, right? And then it takes us off the moral high ground, and then Iran gets to say America should get kicked out. When in reality, this bracket here is a really fascinating bracket, both in terms of soccer and geopolitics, right? This is what I'm calling the revolution bracket, okay? Because you've got America against England. Well, we did a revolution against them. By the way, Wales is also in there, so you could throw England and Wales together for Great Britain. And America and Great Britain helped to do a coup and a revolution in Iran, which led to a counter-revolution. And now we're in the third round of that potential revolution because of what we started in America and England against Iran. So each of these games, I mean, the America-US thing, England thing is not as low to obviously anymore now that we're very strong allies. But each of these games has a really interesting historical and political backstory to it. But the one that's most obvious is the one that's coming up tomorrow. So not only do you have these current day machinations with the Iranian government protesting a little too much here, and what they're trying to do, the reason why I say it's counterproductive for us to do it is because it gives the Ayatollah in Iran a way to say, oh, we're all fighting against the Americans. And especially as they're about to play a very emotional game where both teams, basically World Cup is on the line, right? It's basically an elimination match, a de facto one. So the Iranians are going to be really pumped up against America, and this allows the oppressive government to go, you see how America disrespects us and what they did to our flag, and it becomes counterproductive when we're trying to get the Iranian side to be with the protesters and support a democratic revolt, let's say, in Iran.
And while this isn't necessarily directly related to the unrest and protests that are taking place in Iran, the United States also lacks moral high ground in regard to its geopolitical conflict with Iran, considering we're the ones who pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal under the Trump administration. Iran was following all of the rules that went along with that Iran nuclear deal, and we were ensuring that they weren't developing nuclear weapons. Trump pulls out and then immediately implements all of these crippling economic sanctions on Iran. So that's all to say that while the United States and certainly the US State Department likes to position itself as the group that has the moral high ground here, in reality, if they genuinely have concern about the people being brutalized in Iran, the lives of women in Iran, they should probably consider the impact of those sanctions on the people of Iran, especially during the pandemic, where obviously they needed resources to keep people safe and alive. So anyway, that's a little bit of a sidetrack, but I think it's important to bring it up in this context. With that said though, maybe we should take tomorrow off to watch the match.
That's not
I really do want to watch the match, and I'm not really a sports person, so.
Yeah, no. I'm going to find a way to keep it on the second screen. Let's keep it real.
Lord,
okay, so listen, guys. Last things on this. In sports now, common lingo is revenge match. So when Tom Brady plays the Patriots, it's a revenge match. His revenge match. This is a revenge match in all directions, because we can consider it a revenge match for the hostages. They could consider it a revenge match for Soleimani. Remember, we killed their top military leader.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, and but by the way, half of Iran probably cares about that. The other half is like, whatever, right? Because they're revolting against their own government that Soleimani was a part of. But Anna's right. The real, this is, you'll never see in the news, but the real revenge match part of it for Iran is the sanctions that has been brutalizing the country. And by the way, that we, America, are completely wrong about. And then last note is on the soccer itself. The US team, for the first time ever in history, in my opinion and the opinion of a lot of others, is an exciting team. It's a young, exciting team that is not stale and boring and plodding as all the other American teams have been. And they almost beat England. And so, on the other hand, Iran's a young, exciting team. So it's kind of a revolution within soccer. No, I'm serious. This time around, there's a lot more parity throughout the world. Before, the bigger teams would just dominate and steamroll. But this year, everybody's beating everybody. Japan's beating Germany, Saudi Arabia's beating Argentina.
Brazil beating Serbia? Could you believe it?
Yeah, that one's a little bit more believable. And then Iran beating Wales 2-0 after we lost to Wales. After the US tied Wales. And so it's topsy-turvy in both in football, as the rest of the world calls it, and in politics. So the whole world should be watching tomorrow. And both sides are, like I said, playing for their lives in the World Cup. And one of them will advance to the round of 16 and be an exciting team. So pretty much everything's on the line in this match.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.